Good morning, 11th grade, class of 2022. Welcome to another ICAP lesson. We are in quarter 4. Yes, don't tune out. This is an important one too, just like the others were. But this one, from now on, I'm helping you get ready for your senior year because it's going to hit like a ton of bricks in a few months. And I want to try and help you get around some of the pitfalls that our seniors run into every year. So here we go. So hang in there, pay attention, and this is important to you guys. Okay. Some of these slides you're going to recognize from a previous presentation, but I'm showing you again. Not all of them are the same. But basically, this stuff is just super important to you, and it's going to be critically important at this time of year next year. And you're not going to be able to go back and do everything over again differently. So please pay attention. We're going to look at financial aid here, and why it's important and what you can be doing now and next week and in the following weeks and over the summer. Okay, quick idea. You've probably seen this before. How much is college going to cost? This is just a rough, statement. It's not precise. In fact, those numbers are a little low. One thing to note is that private colleges often they get less funding from our tax money than public schools, such as the University of Colorado, Colorado State University. Those are public schools. Private schools, such as University of Denver, School of Mines, Regis, those are private, and they have to come up with more of their own funding because they don't get as much through taxes. But they often also have strong and higher number of scholarships, so it often will bring the cost of attendance way down as well. So don't exclude any of these categories of colleges when you're looking at college for next year. Now, before we go on, I want to say that we talk a lot about college here, but what we want you to know is whatever your path is for after high school or your post-secondary, meaning after high school path, we are here to support you to build the steps, build the road to get there. You got to do the work, obviously. You got to make sure that, when we're talking about resumes, you're doing your resume. You are, you're attending class, you're getting the grades, you're doing everything that you can on your side of things. But we are here to give you guidance, make sure that you have in place those things that you need to do to step into that life after high school, whatever that is. So whether it's military or straight into the workforce or college in some fashion, technical colleges included in that, any kind of post-secondary or after high school training is falling under the umbrella of college. We are here to help guide you and support you in taking those steps. So please don't think it's only about college. Okay, let's move on. Now, as you saw in those college costs, they go up by type. It depends on the type and the size of the university. They've got a lot of resources at big universities, which can be wonderful. You can have a lot of supports. You can have a lot of access to really cool, programs and professors that have a lot of experience, really cool facilities. But the cost is not the same for everyone. It depends on your financial need. It also depends on your merit. Merit means your grades and your test scores, and it puts aside financial need. So you're going to have financial aid awarded both for your financial need, which is based on your family's income and your income, and you're going to have it awarded based on your merit, strictly looking at your grades, your community service involvement, and your test scores. So even if your family has financial means, you can still get some financial aid by basically being meritorious, getting those grades, getting those test scores, retaking the SAT if it doesn't turn out as high as you wish. All right, types of financial aid. Grants basically are free money. That can come from a lot of sources. Work study is if your family does have a lower income and then you may qualify for work study, which means a part-time job through the college. whether it's on campus or near campus. And the money from that work study goes towards your tuition. It is not just a free job. It offsets your tuition. It doesn't pay it all, but it helps pay it down. And then also scholarships through the universities, as well as outside of the universities. So any financial aid you get through a college is called institutional aid. And then all the scholarships that you're going to be applying to, you can actually start applying to them now, are called just other, you know, private scholarships, community scholarships, and those are ones, yes, it does take work. You got to do essays, you got to do their application, you got to get it on time and deadline, you got to do the research work. You may have an interview, you got to have a resume. Yeah, it's work, but it's money. That's why it's work. So please consider that. All right. I'm going to jump out and show you some things in a little bit on where you can start doing some scholarship search. All right. So going back, financial aid categories of it include grants, which is free money, work study, which is through the college, scholarships, which is through both the college and outside institutions, and student loans. These are not free. Obviously, it's money you borrow. You will be charged interest. There is a maximum amount each year, but please don't be afraid of these. These are good to have in your as a last resort, but of course, ideally, you want to get the financial aid that you can get and not have to pay back first. So I'm not going to go through everything in these slides, but I do want you to look at this and just take some time and read through this. Basically, when you do take out student loans, you're going to have whatever the amount of the loan is plus interest, and that interest can add up fast. So don't be afraid of student loans. Just keep them as your last resort. That is why we want you to apply to as many scholarships as you can physically apply to. Starting now, you can apply through the summer, and you definitely need to be applying in your senior year. So how do you know what type of these financial aids you'll qualify for? You're going to need to complete what's called the FAFSA. The FAFSA stands for, well, let me go back. Just look at the letters. It stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. Federal meaning U.S. government. So you're going to basically go to a website, and I'm going to jump out now and show you what that looks like. Just watch. So you're going to open a new tab. You're going to type FAFSA. Make sure it's this one. It says studentaid.gov. That's right. Studentaid.gov. Any of them is fine, but this one's right there. FAFSA, Free Application for Federal Student Aid. FAFSA. That's the right website. You're going to go there. And you can start this in October, so you won't start till your senior year, but you need to understand how important this is, and you need to get on it as soon as it opens. And we can help you. So right here, click Complete the FAFSA, studentaid.gov. This is the site you want. This is the actual U.S. government website where you can start to complete the FAFSA. And just follow the steps, and it's going to take you all over. It's going to be a long application. It's going to take you some time. Don't let that deter you. Do not put the FAFSA off, because once you complete the FAFSA, that's basically a database of your financial eligibility. And then all the colleges and all the scholarships that you apply to are going to need to look at that FAFSA result, that report, and see what you could qualify for financial aid. So if you do not complete the FAFSA and it is not accurate, they cannot award you any financial aid. So please, please be ready to do the FAFSA starting on October 1 of this year when you come back as a senior. And we'll be doing more of this later. By the way, the FAFSA is basically a big database where you're going to input a bunch of your financial information, your family's financial information, so you will need to talk to your family about that. And we will give you more guidance as that time comes. But please plan on doing this. All right, back to this. Okay, so through FAFSA, you can find out if you can get any of the free money, the grants, the work study. It'll also tell you if you qualify for loans, student loans. So That's what you got to do the FAFSA to find out what type of financial aid you're eligible for, and then you go and get it and you pursue it and you do the applications for scholarships and grants and work study and loans. Well, loans last, but that's why you do the FAFSA first. And like I said, your colleges, companies, school scholarships will all be looking at the FAFSA results that you have. You will be granting them access to that so that they can then determine if they can award you any financial aid and what they can award you. Right. Everyone should fill out the FAFSA because everyone is eligible for some sort of financial aid. Doesn't mean that it's all going to be free money. It just means you're going to be eligible for something, and it might be student loans. Your family might have the income, whether they've had the savings or not. They may have the income level to pay for your college. FAFSA will tell you that. And then they may say you qualify for student loans. That's something you've got to be working out with your family now. I understand that then therefore you may feel like you need to get a job to start saving for college. We're going to address that later. But everybody's going to need to do the FAFSA. So please, please, please expect that. Completing the FAFSA is the only way to be eligible for federal financial aid, meaning through the U.S. Department of Education. You can definitely get financial aid by not doing the FAFSA, but it's a lot harder because there's most scholarships and most colleges and most institutions are going to look to the FAFSA as a good source of information about your financial status. Now, remember this. The financial aid you're going to get awarded by having colleges and scholarships look at your FAFSA, that is called financial need. That's financial aid based on your families and your financial need. Remember, there's another way to qualify for financial aid, and that is by being meritorious or merit scholarships. So if your grades and your test scores are strong, your SAT, ACT are strong, then you can still get scholarships even if your family has financial means. You may be able to get financial aid from the colleges or from certain scholarships if you have really high grades and test scores. So that is why, that's another benefit of working hard in your classes and getting those grades, as well as retaking the SAT if your score is not as high as you want. And we'll be talking about that after you guys take the SAT. You will need to complete the FAFSA, I apologize for typos, each year that you're in college. So expect that. All right. How else can you, don't worry about unmet need. We'll get into more details on that next year. Basically, unmet need is how much of the college bill you still have left after financial aid is awarded. It's not going to pay for, financial aid is not going to pay for everything. So you're going to have to figure out how you're going to cover the balance of the tuition and the cost to go to a college. That's just the facts. So taking concurrent enrollment or those college classes now while you're in high school, and then next year while you're in senior year, definitely listen to us when we start talking about the Ascent program. I can give you 1 free year of college at a community college or metro. You have to have at least 4 college classes passed while you're in high school, not by that time, but by the time you graduate. And they have to be the 100 level college classes or higher, not the 000. Like, for example, not CCR 092 or 094. It's got to be like English 121, Lit 115, Soc 101, those levels and higher. So, and math 121 and higher. So if you've got 4 of those college classes done by the time you graduate, and you can demonstrate that you're college ready, and then we'll talk about that again next year, then you can get into that Ascent program that can pay for 1 free year, 1 year of either at a community college or at Metropolitan State University of Denver. And the other way you can help reduce college costs or your unmet need is to apply for scholarships. Apply. You can start now. So anyway, we'll get into more details of that later. I'm just trying to drive home now that you need to be expecting to do the FAFSA next year, and you need to be starting to research financial aid now. And if your SAT scores are not strong, then you need to retake the SAT, and you just need to go to collegeboard.org. By the way, a strong SAT score that will get you considered for financial aid is at least 11 to 1200 composite score. So if you're below that, you need to retake it. It's that simple. You have, if you want financial aid for college next year, well, in the year you go to college, you're going to need to have a composite score on the SAT of at least 11 to 1200 and a very strong GPA. So if your SAT score is below that, please just plan to retake it. I'm not going to talk too much about CAFs right now. We will talk more about that next year when you're a senior. Right now, like I said before, winning scholarships is a numbers game. This is a lot of details I'm not going to go into. Basically, the more you apply, the more you're going to get. So our students think that applying to maybe 3 of them is going to be enough. Not even close. Apply to 10 to 20 scholarships minimum, and that probably won't cover all the costs. But if it's something you got to start working on now, and I'm just trying to raise your awareness now. Who wins the scholarships? The people that apply. If you don't have to have perfect grades and perfect test scores, although strong grades and test scores will definitely help get you more scholarships. Like I said, based on merit. Remember, there's the financial need scholarships and the merit scholarships. And then most scholarships include both. They include a consideration of your financial need, and they consider your grades and test scores. But there are some that only look at grades and test scores and don't worry about financial need. But the more you apply for scholarships, the more you're going to get awarded. Yep. So, and that last bullet point means if you want to cover much more of your college costs before resorting to student loans, and remember there's a limit on the student loans you can take out each year, you've got to apply for more scholarships. So please, please, please know that this presentation about financial aid, it's basically saying expect to do the FAFSA, take the SAT and retake it if you need to get that scores up to 11 to 1200 or as high as you possibly can, and then start searching for scholarships now. And I'm going to show you where those resources are. But right now, why should any of this matter to you right now? It might be like, like at the end of 11th grade, I'm trying to pass my classes, trying to do well, I'm working a job, or I've got other responsibilities. Why are you telling me this now? Here's the reason. Because every single year, many of our seniors end up not going to the colleges they're admitted to. Good, strong four-year colleges in both our state as well as in other states. And why do they not end up going to those colleges? Because they can't afford them. Why can't they afford them? Because they don't apply to enough scholarships. They also did not retake the SAT enough to get their scores up, so it was too low for financial aid. And many of them, as some of you already do, work. Let me tell you, the research shows that working over 10 hours per week, which I know sounds really low in high school, will keep your grades down because that job starts to compete for your time spent doing what it takes to get your grades high. Now, when your grades are B's and C's, and they could have been A's and B's, that right there is scholarships and financial aid that you aren't going to get. So please consider keeping your work hours down so that, and I apologize again for typos, when you're working in a low-wage job, you're earning money, and I know that feels good right now, and it's necessary for a lot of you, and that's completely fine. But when you let those hours creep up, you are focusing on that job. Your grades do tend to drop, and when your grades drop and your test and you aren't spending the time to retake the SAT because you're working a lot of hours, that's thousands of dollars in scholarships that you could have earned that could let you go to one of the good four-year colleges that you want to go to of your choice. So please don't let this stuff happen to you. This is going to be your reality in the next few months. Please be aware of it. Apply for as many scholarships as you physically can, 20 at least. Retake the SAT. Take the ACT. You can sign up for it online. Just start searching. And then keep your work hours as low as possible to permit you to focus on your schoolwork, because your schoolwork is what's going to get you the ticket into college. Okay, I'm going to show you a quick demo on the Denver Scholarship website. Denver Scholarship Foundation is and basically we have a person in the building that works for them that helps you guys with your college applications and your scholarship applications, in addition to your counselors doing that. But this person, her name is Miss Rodriguez, will work with you very specifically on those two things next year. So they have a lot of resources that you can go to start searching for scholarships. So here you go. Keep watching. Denver Scholarship Foundation. You do not have to separate the words. Okay, that's it. Denver Scholarship Foundation, denverscholarship.org. That's it. So click on that. Click on Apply for the DSS Scholarship. Now, the DSS Scholarship is one thing, but they also have a database of scholarships. So I'm scrolling down to show you. Searching for other scholarships, scholarship directory. Right here. Scholarship directory is where you want to go. High school scholarships. You can replay this video if you want. Grade 11 and grade 12 scholarships. So you probably want to start looking at grade 12 scholarships for next year. Here's the deadline, so go by deadline. But look at this. Look how long this document is. It's got the name of it. You're going to want to look at the description right here of the scholarship. They have gone through and vetted all of these, and there's a link to the website where you can start applying. Some of these won't apply to each one of you, but this is just scholarships you can apply for in your 12th grade year that Denver Scholarship Foundation has found. Now, there's more scholarships out there, but you need to start looking through this and starting to apply to some of these now and early next year. Probably some of them you can do in the summer. Just look at the deadline. All right, I'm going to go back because I want to show you. Remember, if we get there real quick, there's also grade 11 scholarships, same kind of thing. Start looking at the deadline. Some of them are later, like in May, so you could apply to some of these. You just want to make sure you read it and see if you are eligible for that. Okay, that's just one resource for scholarships. Then you go back up. We're going to go back. Remember, there is a scholarship directory on there on the Denver Scholarship Foundation webpage. There's also searching for other scholarships. They've got links to search directories. So these are directories. They're like little internets just for scholarships. So you're going to go there and you're going to put your information in, and then it's going to send you a bunch of scholarships that match your criteria that you enter. And then you have the choice of whether you apply for those scholarships or not. So it's a scholarship search directories. Okay. All right, let's go back to our presentation. All right. That was just one great source of where you can start looking for scholarships, the Denver Scholarship Foundation website. Just some tips on searching for scholarships. There's another resource I'm going to show you. I'll just jump out again. You're going to go to Schoology. You're going to go into your courses. You're going to look. You're going to go to this one right here. Miss Rodriguez, I believe, has already shared this with you, so you guys should see this in Schoology. If you don't, let me know, and I will send you the link. But you will have this for next year as well. You're going to be going to this website a lot. DMLK, this is for class of 2021, but you're going to have one for your class of 2022. Scholarship resources right here. Scholarship tips, Denver Scholarship Foundation I just showed you. Scholarship list, scholarship website, all kinds of amazing stuff. So there is no excuse for not applying to at least 10 to 20 scholarships. You've got all the resources. You just have to allocate the time. So here's an example. This is just one example. This is just a few. Okay? All right, let's go back. So lots of scholarship resources. You will have to do the legwork and do the applications and find them. But I just gave you a bunch of resources. I'm going to give you some more. And please, I'm trying to set your mindset up for next year so that you guys are ready for this and you're doing some of the research now, because I don't want you guys to keep running into what our seniors do every single year. Our seniors, I'm talking about even the ones that have very high GPAs and test scores, are not getting into, well, actually, I take that back. They're getting into a lot of colleges they apply to, but they are not getting enough financial aid to pay for it, and still just have low student loans. They're not closing that gap enough because they're not doing enough scholarship applications. So please, please, please start researching these now. All right. Just a few other listings. Additional resources for searching for scholarships. Take a moment, and I'm going to move on. This might feel like there's too many choices to you right now, and it might feel like there's thousands and thousands of options out there, and where do you start? Just pick one. Just pick one and start researching them. I would say go to that Denver Scholarship Foundation website that I just showed you, and remember, apply for scholarships. Go down to the scholarship directory and start looking, and pick one every couple of weeks and just start doing them. Here's just some extra tips for when you're applying for scholarships in colleges. You need to be use a professional email address, clean up the content of all your social media, Google your own name, see what shows up. If you don't like it, see what you can clean up. Definitely make copies or save, photo images or something of your applications. Save it in your Google Drive, save it somewhere. And then you need to be looking at your email every day anyway. Now for high school stuff, but also for when you're applying for scholarships in colleges. So start getting in the habit of looking at your emails every day. All right. Another way you can reduce the cost of college is to participate in a fifth-year program called Ascent. That will be available to you next year. I'll tell you more about that. But basically, you can apply. It's limited spots, so you may be very meritorious, but spots are limited. So basically, 1 year of community college or college at Metropolitan State University will be paid for through DPS. You have to have, it's after your senior year, you have to have had 12 college credits, which is about 4 concurrent enrollment or college classes in high school by the time you graduate, so you don't have to have them all yet. They have to be at the 100 level or higher, and we will give you more information on this next year. But that is another way you can pay for that first year of college and then transfer those credits. All right, now we're going to do just the basics of the cleanup we got to do. So go ahead and log into Student Portal. I'll give you a minute or two to do that. And remember, you got to check on your ICAP questions. Your SEL advisement grade will not be very high, and eventually will not be passing unless you have completed all of your ICAP questions thus far through high school. So go to Student Portal, My ICAP Plan, menu tab right there on the screen, and answer all 11th grade questions. Actually, it should be all quarter 1 through 4. I apologize. That should say quarter 1 through 4. So answer all 11th grade questions, quarters 1 through 4, and save your responses there at the bottom. You also need to go back and do, I'm going to just stop now. You also need to go back and do your 9th grade and your 10th grade questions. Those are part of your completion of ICAP questions, which is part of your SEL advisement grade. So remember, 11th graders, juniors, when you're doing your ICAP questions right now, or later today, but definitely this week before Friday, because I'm going to send the reports to you and to your teachers on Friday, and that's what they're going to base your SEL advisement grade on. You got to do all your 9th grade questions, all of them. Please don't skip any. Our seniors are still skipping questions, and they think they've done it, and then there's one that's not answered, and they have to go back and hunt through it. So all 9th grade questions, all 10th grade questions, and now all 11th grade questions, quarters 1 through 4. So all 11th grade questions need to be done by this Friday. All right. Anytime you need to have any questions on this, please just reach out to me, Ms. Wickers, who's one of your counselors, or Mr. Legg, who is the counselor for, if your last name is A through L, Mr. Legg is your counselor. If your last name starts with M through Z, I'm your school counselor. You can talk to either one of us about questions, but the best person to start with is your counselor. All right, you guys have a great day. Take care, be safe, and please reach out to me with any questions.